Yes, everyone, welcome back to the post-match show after our 2-0 win at home against Sheffield United. Now, was it the most exciting performance you've seen your whole life? Absolutely not. But we got the 3 points. I guess that's the most important thing. And you know what? I'm looking to try and mix things up a little bit now on the channel. So I'm going to be doing things a bit differently. I'm going to be going through my player ratings. I'll be going through what Pochettino had to say post-match. And obviously to end things, I'll be answering questions. And you guys have the opportunity to come on call, discuss the game with me, share your thoughts and opinions and all that sexy stuff. So I hope you guys enjoy, and let's get straight into things right now. Great to see some familiar people here. Right now, I'm going to go to the player ratings. This is where things will get a bit controversial, but obviously 4-2-3-1 was the lineup used by Pochettino today. I think this was the lineup we had to see against a team that we knew were going to sit back and park the bus. So we needed to see numbers today, especially between the lines and in offensive areas. Obviously, we didn't see Enzo starting the game. But you know what? To start off with things, let's discuss how new debutant, home debutant in Petrovic did in this game today. So you know what? I'm going to be giving Petrovic a standard 6 out of 10 to keep things absolutely real. No fault of his own. I just think that, listen, it was a professional performance today. It wasn't, wasn't forced into any saves. He didn't do any silly mistakes. I think he touched the ball like 22 times. Not really tested. I think if you were to have your home debut here, you probably wouldn't have a game like this if you're trying to like feel your way into life in the Premier League. So listen, the fact that he didn't stand out for any negative reasons is a positive. Straight for me, to be fair with you. And I guess for the second player rating now, let's rank Disasi. I'm going to be giving Disasi another 6 out of 10. Now listen, it's through no fault of his own. I just personally think that in the first half, he wasn't helped by the fact that we needed better width. Obviously, Corwell, Disasi, they're not the type of adventurous guys that will obviously be comfortable, you know, pushing forwards, making runs in behind, advancing up the final third. And obviously I felt like Sterling and Mudryk kind of suffered by not having 2 fullbacks that could really support them high up the field. Listen, Disasi was crisp with his passing. I think maybe one sloppy mistake, not even too bad, to be fair with you. In terms of dealing with aerial threats, he was there. For me, a 6 out of 10 doesn't mean you're bad. I think it's a standard professional performance, to be absolutely honest with you. I just felt like maybe the system in the first half did not help with how rigid we were, with how much fluidity we lacked in the final third. And I think, obviously, the wide guys in Disasi and Corwell had to pay the price for that. To move on, I'll move on to Thiago Silva. I'm going to be giving Thiago Silva, you know what? I should start to do like decimal ratings, I've realised, because not every 6 is the same. But for me, 6 just means it's a standard professional performance. You know, again, similar to Disasi, it's a good thing that he didn't stand out for any negative reasons. I guess there wasn't always the opportunity to play forward like I would have hoped, especially in that first half. Of course, he dealt with the danger. There was minimal threat from Sheffield United. So it's one of those games where it's really hard to judge my defence in high regards, because they didn't have much to do in terms of defending. In terms of moving the ball out too, I think they were kind of impacted a bit by the lack of numbers we had in the final third, finding good positions. But what I can really say is it's a standard professional performance. To move on though, let's move on to Badiashile. This is where the numbers get a bit higher now. I'm going to give Badia a 7 out of 10. Now, listen, Badia was probably the most influential centre-back in this game today. Obviously, he was not afraid to punch balls forward when he had to. Listen, at times, I felt like Badia could have even taken a bit more chances in that first half, especially when it came to playing the switchboard a bit more actively. But outside of that, this guy is one of the top aerial guys in the league. Dealt with anything he had coming his way. You know, really pushed us forward at times. I loved that little run he went on at the start of the first half, and he kind of glided past 2-3 players, making down. That looked very classy. It looked very nice. And you know what I mean? I feel like he should be playing more games. And listen, the part of me wishes that I could see Badia playing alongside Levi Corwell in the middle of a back two. But I have my, 2 excellent ball progressing centre backs, doing their stuff, taking the reins and showing what they can really bring. So I thought Badia today was decent in terms of output on the ball today, because that was what he had to really focus on more than defending, in my opinion. Moving on, I'm going to give Levi Corwell a 6 Very similar reasons to Disasi. And to be honest, I'm going to do decimal point ratings for the future because not every 6 is the same. But listen, Colwell, there's a few times he played some nice balls over the top to try and find Mudryk. Listen, Colwell was more adventurous compared to Disasi on that left-hand side. Obviously, at times, these guys aren't naturally going to be bombing forward. I know I'm repeating myself so much, but they're not going to get forward. That is going to limit our wingers who get left 2v1 too much. And it's like, you can't expect guys like Sterling and Mudryk, players who aren't dribblers like your Hazards and co, to excel in 2v1 areas. It's not really going to happen. But listen, I thought in terms of what he had to do, professional, standards, and there was a few nice balls over the top. I would give him a 6.5, but I don't have that score rating right now. So moving on, let's move on to Moises Caicedo. And listen, I'm going to be giving Caicedo, you know what, flipping hell, I'm going to be giving him a 7 actually. 7. Like, it would be a high 6. I'm going to give Caicedo a 7. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I think Caicedo today is really starting to show what he can do in terms of moving that ball one touch instead of not wasting time in terms of using in terms of using possession. I'm liking the one touch Caicedo we're seeing recently. I noticed against Everton a lot more. Today, he couldn't afford to dwell on the ball to waste time because we have to break down a block right. He had the license to get forward a bit too at times. I thought he showed a bit of, a good tempo in terms of how he was moving the ball, how he's trying to find people, how he's trying to play it wide, and obviously play it forward as well too. And I thought there was a nice control in this game. Listen, probably the easiest game Caicedo's going to play this whole season, right? Let's keep things real. And I thought he looked quite good. And I think alongside him, we move on to Conor Gallagher. For me, he's another guy that deserves 7. And I thought they kind of fed off each other quite well, Caicedo and Gallagher today. Caicedo had to sit a bit deeper. Gallagher had a bit more license to break forward at times. And there was a lot of times when he, won that counter press. His pressures were really good. When he won the ball, he was driving the team up the field. He was laying it off first time to find, runners in behind, or to play it quickly wide to find your Sterlings and co 1v1 against their man. There was a nice little run he went on in the first half and he went past 2-3 guys bombing down the left hand side. And in terms of professionalism, in terms of work rate, in terms of aptitude, in terms of how he moves the ball, always at a fast pace, and how he covers the ground and wins those tackles. He does a lot of untalked about positive work for our team. There's a reason why Pochettino felt today that for this 4-2-3-1 I'm going to have to use Conor alongside Caicedo because I need someone who's going to eat those yards up and really hold that team down. Gallagher's a general, and this is what he's showing throughout the season. So I thought it was really good from him. Now to move on, let's move on to Mykhailo Mudryk. And you guys might think I'm being harsh. I'm going to explain my reasoning for this. But I'm giving Mudryk 5 out of 10 today. Listen, I don't even think it's necessarily all his fault. Bear with me, guys. As I was saying about the wide centre-backs playing at fullback, a lot of times the wingers are 2v1 against their man, and there's no support there. There's not enough options. Mudryk, he's a give-and-go type of guy. He wants to release it quickly to someone close to him so he can then dart into that space and behind. He wants someone holding the bit for him so he can drift infield more. And I feel like it's a bit of a waste expecting Mudryk to be this dribble merchant that's going to take advantage of all the space that's afforded to him. He's going to single-handedly drive us up the field. This is not Eden Hazard. I know I'm saying this quite a lot. He is not a Hazard type of winger. He's a Vinny type of winger. He needs to be playing off of someone, with someone, or has tons of space to run into. If there's 2v1s against this guy, he's not going to pick the right option all the time. His decision making isn't fully there. And I felt like as the game went on, he lost more, he was on the periphery in this game. I think in the second half in particular, the right hand side was the main creative outlet for us by far. And Mudryk was becoming a bit of a memory because, the first half was mainly playing down that left hand side. So no avail whatsoever. Even though I'm explaining the difficulties and the sympathies I have for Mudryk, at the same time, listen, some of the decision making is poor. At times, when he should be bombing down to the left hand side, he's cutting inside for no reason. With the first touch is a bit heavy. or he's like over dribbled more than he had to and he's lost the ball. He was on the floor quite a lot in this game today, or taking shots when he shouldn't be doing that too. That shot that ballooned over like wide off mark. It wasn't his best game this season, but listen, am I expecting Mudryk to be putting in 7 out of 10s weekly? If you're doing that, you're probably up there in the league. He ain't that guy right now, but doesn't mean we should give up on him. So right now, let's move on to Cole Palmer. I'm going to be giving Cole Palmer an 8. Now, if I was Anthony Fantano, I would say this is a low 8 that I'm giving him. I would give him a 7.5. But the reason why I'm going to give him an 8 because I think it's a high 7 that he deserves. And I think Cole Palmer really benefited from the tactical tweak made by Pochettino. Playing on that right-hand side, where it became more of like, it was like more of a 4-2-2-2 in the second half, where Palmer could receive in the right half space, in the right channel. Playing that way, of course, he could see the goal in front of him. He could see the runners in behind and your Sterlings and your Jacksons and Coes, where you can play balls over the top. And when he was cutting inside, he had those guys to be doing link-up plays with and 1-2s. And obviously, Cole Palmer in the right channel was showing that he's a bit of a creative influence in terms of how he gets his team playing. Like when he's on that ball in that area, you're noticing that diagonal runs, like so often from Raheem Sterling, especially in this game today, darting into those spaces, looking to receive on the end. And, in Cole Palmer, you give this guy options. Most times he picks the best choice. Obviously, he gets a goal today. I liked that, he knows. Again, Cole Palmer is one of those players. He's a goal and assist merchant. He will show this even more. He could regularly combines both. Not everyone can do that to the highest level. And even though he's still got a long ways to go, he's showing a ton of promise, this kid. But took his goal really well. I love how the conviction he had running into the box then. Gets in front of his man, finds a good area to attack the ball, hits that first time. And then, of course, he gets the assist ready. Obviously, at first, for the assist that he got, I was a bit annoyed that he didn't take a shot when he opened his body up. But I think in hindsight, obviously, he made the right decision looking to find Sterling. He was alert for the rebound and then quickly plays it across goal to find Nico Jackson. And no surprise that when Nico scores, it tends to be because of Cole Palmer's involvement in the game. And again, the tweaks are focus play down the right-hand side. The tweak to move Sterling more centrally. The tweak to have Cole Palmer being more of the, the offensive threat out wide. Teaming up alongside Gallagher, meaning that we didn't need the Sassy having to get forward in the opponent's half. That made a big difference for us. And I think Cole Palmer today, he's a type of player now that Pochettino relies upon to help change the game for us. And listen, it's a lot of responsibility for someone this young, especially like coming in their first proper breakout season. But I think this guy is really responding in superb fashion to the challenge set, on him by Pochettino. So moving on to Raheem Sterling now. I'm going to be giving Raheem Sterling a 7. I thought Raheem Sterling was, he came to life when he was unleashed. First half, I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all. Listen, you don't have a proper fullback, no Gusto or no one there. What's this guy going to do 2v1? But when he had the license to then move forwards, when he had that license to play closer towards Nico Jackson, kind of playing off of him, that is when the whole game transforms. And I thought Raheem Sterling, this is where the manager relies upon his experience, because Sterling knows how to create danger off the ball. He knows how to find positions that defenders aren't really marking. He knows how to drag space to help his teammates. He knows when to time those little diagonal runs to dart into those spaces. And this is what Guardiola was taking so much advantage of during his time at Man City. No surprise to me that he got an assist for Cole Palmer by, making that diagonal run. I thought it was a really good cross inside the box too, with a lot of pace, a lot of accuracy to create that goal for Cole Palmer. And just throughout, just the little danger he was creating in the second half really posed a lot of problems towards Sheffield United. And obviously, to end things with the final player rating for Nico Jackson, listen, I'd give him a high 6 or a low 7. So I'm going to be nice because he scored today, and I'm going to give Nico Jackson 7. Now, of course, he's now continuing. He's a highest scoring player this season. I think that's 8 goals, which is not bad. Listen, I know the hat-trick versus Spurs wasn't the sexiest. I know that some of these goals are tap-ins, but it is what it is. Listen, I think today he is another guy. Again, the whole attack came to life when Poch made the right decisions in the second half. No surprise that Palmer Sterling, Jackson all came to life. Listen, if it continued how it was in the first half, all these guys, they will not have the same ratings for us because we're not winning this game. But I think Nicholas Jackson, when he wasn't on the periphery in the first half, which he was, on his only surface he was relying upon was balls coming from Badiashile, Thiago Silva. There was no one close with him to link up with. I couldn't even see him or Mudryk link up either. It wasn't working. Hence why Poch had to make those tweaks in terms of swapping players around. And by Sterling playing off of Nico, Nico had a bit more freedom. He had that freedom to drift right. He had that freedom to drop deep. He had that freedom to be a mark on the back post because he's not the only guy in the books up against like 6 Sheffield United defenders. And listen, it takes 2 to tango. Like I'm mentioning, if that was Osimhen in the first half, Osimhen's not getting no service. So I'm not going to be sticking it on Nicholas Jackson for not doing more. Like, what should he have done when his team wasn't there for him because of how bad we were and how rigid we were and how much fluidity we lacked in that game. Second half, this guy showed what he's about. And all the front three of, Jackson, Palmer, Sterling, listen, wasn't the front three, but these guys together, things happen. Obviously, let me do the ratings quickly. Pochettino, I'm going to give my manager a rating. Listen, I'm going to give Pochettino, I'm going to give him, I'm going to have to give Pochettino a 7 today. That's purely based on the fact that his changes in the second half basically won the game for us. And he reacted by swapping Sterling, by making those tweaks. If he didn't do that, we aren't doing anything in those games. Listen, the post-match interviews will break down afterwards, but I'm giving him a high rating based on how he reacted to how badly we started this game. And the result was needed regardless, and that was because Poch, he realised that mistakes were made with how he set the team up in that first half. Outside of that, is there any point really rating Enzo and Jackson? Listen, I'll give Enzo a 6. Actually, really, listen, it's just a standard performance, not gonna lie. It was nothing magical, to be honest with you. I just thought it was just a calm performance from Enzo. I'm gonna give Broja a 5, and I'm giving him a 5 because that miss hurt. I'll be honest with you. That was a pretty bad miss. Could have really set up his season a little bit better. Listen, I sympathise. He's been out for a while. But yeah, that miss, you can't be missing that. I don't know what he was thinking, what was on his mind, how he set his body up for the shot too. It didn't make any sense. You get a 5 for that. And for Maatsen and Gusto, there's no point in hell rating these guys really because they got 3 minutes. So they're my player ratings. If you guys agree, let me know in the chat. If not, then I'm sure I'm going to know either way, to be fair with you. But yeah, they're my player ratings. And I think for the next one, I'm going to do decimal points because I think you need decimal points to do like a proper good ratings, because not every 6 on screen is the same, and not every 7 and not every number is the same, right? So my friends, that's the player ratings out of the way. Let's now move on to post-match discussions with Pochettino, and we're learning some reasons behind why Enzo Fernandez didn't start the game. So as Poch himself is saying, he's got 11 men he has to pick. It wasn't because Enzo Fernandez was fatigued or tired. I think Poch just felt like Caicedo and Gallagher was the better balance. And I can kind of understand where he's coming from. Like, if you're going to have a 4-2-3-1 with a 10 where at times he might not be in the right position off the ball to help press properly, you need to have a midfield player alongside Caicedo that can help cover the ground and distances. We'll go on the stats later. Maybe I can go on the stats right now. You'll see the type of grounds that both him and Gallagher and Caicedo covered together. I'm going to show you guys right now. Give me one bloody old second. As you guys are seeing by the lineup, no surprise, Caicedo, Connor, they got 7.9s. Okay, so the ratings on SofaScore were very... Oh, they gave Cole Palmer 8.5. Maybe it's because I've seen performances from like your Pedros, your Hazards and stuff. I don't think that was an 8.5 performance from Palmer. I think that was... Listen, I would have given him a 7.5 if I had a decimal point. It was good, but listen, there's more to even come from Palmer. But staying on Caicedo and Connor, look at the ground covers. Caicedo really covered a lot of the spaces on the right-hand sides. He's just always in that little box. Like, he doesn't venture too far forwards. he doesn't venture too far back. He's just right in those central areas that Pochettino wants him. And Conor Gallagher alongside him, look at those red heat map zones, you know, attacking on the left. And then on the second half, playing in the right-hand side and then tracking back to help support down the left-hand side too. You know, if I could fuse those heat maps together with Caicedo and Conor Gallagher, you're basically seeing these two guys are marshalling most of that midfield throughout this whole game today. You know, how many touches of the ball? I know it must be a stupid amount. Conor had 110 touches of the ball, 98% pass completion rate, 1 key pass. And Caicedo had around, I bet it's something stupid too, 122 touches. So these guys had like 200 plus touches between both, producing 3 key passes, like over 90% pass completion rate. The tackle success rate too. Listen, it wasn't the hardest game for Caicedo, but I think this is why Poch is saying these guys on paper was what I actually needed. I needed that balance to support the attack I had, which I guess makes sense. And listen, I know Enzo didn't really play as much, but you're seeing the influence is, yeah, it wasn't that big within the 21 minutes that he played, to be fair with you. So Pochettino, I'm not angry about that. I think, listen, it's Enzo's first time playing during the Christmas period. I do feel like he's going to need more time to adapt. You know, you need more time to get used to how to run this month. You know what I mean? So I'm not too fussed about him not starting this game, and I don't think it reveals much of anything negative, to be fair with you. Of course, you guys, if you want to take part in the call-in show, go to the description. You'll find all the links and details that you need. And obviously, if you want your questions or calls prioritized, use the super chat feature, because I'm going to be leaving here in the next, like, 30. I'll leave at like 8:20. I need to catch a film. I'm watching the new Godzilla film with the Bay layers. So yeah, I'm hearing big things about this film, so I'm hoping that it's going to, you know, it's going to be a good one today. But anyway, going back to what Pochettino had to say post-match. I'm on the Chelsea website right now. But you know what? To make things a bit better, let me actually use Football London site, because they have the full extracts as well too. So let me see what they're actually telling us. Yeah, bear with me, you guys. Okay, I put it somewhere. Well, I thought I had it, but I guess I didn't have it on OBS. Okay, that should work now. That should be a bit better. Alright, cool. I'm back now, you guys. Okay, bear with me. So here's everything that Poch had to say. Of course, the mistakes, Palmer's move, Newcastle, Fernandes, all that good stuff. Let's go through the key points. How do you feel about, the game afterwards? Relief or happy? He said he doesn't feel relief. He's happy, of course. The players deserve the win, and they worked really well during the week, as they tend to do. They react. I feel like I told you yesterday in my press conference, we already have many things, and of course it's about to build our confidence. At the same time, we need to realize that the things we need to change if we want to improve. Happy because 3 points are really important, and of course we get ready for the game against Newcastle next week, which is going to be a massive one for us. Before I continue on though, I've got a super chat from Boubacar Bar. Appreciate that, man. Caicedo and Enzo each had their best games when one doesn't play. Do you think they complement each other? PS, love the content. Appreciate that, man. It's a very good question, and I'm not going to act like I have all the answers. I feel like there could be potential, but I just think that when you're going to use a pivot like that, you know, how these guys defend the spaces when we don't have the ball is important. I think right now Caicedo isn't at his physical peak to be like that Kante-esque guy alongside Enzo Fernandez that can, you know, single-handedly mop up and clear out any danger. At the same time, I don't think that Enzo's a slouch, but I think times when he pushes up the field, you know, he is leaving those spaces behind. And I think because they're not physically the strongest, having Conor Gallagher alongside them this season has proven to be like a good balancing act, because he brings a lot of aggression, a lot of tenacity, and a lot of physicality too. So I do feel like there's a reason why Conor is kind of shining in the team and why Pochettino is placing a lot of influence around him. But I do think that we will probably see that Caicedo Enzo pivot in the future, but I think it really depends on Caicedo stepping up even more and putting in, like, season high, season leading numbers in terms of defensive metrics, which he isn't doing right now. So I think it's too risky in that aspects. And as I'm saying too, I just don't think that, you know what I mean? Like, if you got Enzo, bro, I'm sorry, you need to have two fullbacks. You need a Reece James, you need a Ben, or anyone else that is going to be an outlet out wide. If you're not going to do that, then you're not going to be as efficient in possession as you can be. If Enzo wants to play forward, he can't feel like he's taking a risk by playing it forward and then it amounts to nothing, and now he has to keep defending more spaces on the counter-attack. That's a waste of everyone's time. So I just think that we're not there right now, but hopefully as the season goes on, it's something that we might end up seeing. So yeah, hopefully that's an okay answer. But anyway, my friends, let me continue on. Let's discuss some of the changes in the second half, and because for me they were the key things, so I'm curious to see what Pochettino actually had to say. As he's saying here, made a change with Cole Palmer and Raheem Sterling. Yeah, he swapped their positions. Palmer happier in the second half. I think you guys all kind of noticed that in terms of the influence, right? As Poch says, in the first half we didn't give the possibility for him or for the team to find better positions on the pitch. That is why we changed things up. We changed the way to build in a medium block. Of course, if you see, he was using the right pocket, Palmer, and the left corner. I know that it's like saying what Pochettino is saying word for word, so apologies if I'm sounding a bit confused right now. But to move on, I think there's too much pressure on our players. I'm not going to lie, Poch, you're not putting these guys under pressure. Like, if you're flipping Mudryk and you're in a 2v1 situation, there's always going to be a constant pressure for you to do the impossible all the time. Same thing for Raheem Sterling. So are you helping in that aspect? But tell a lie, I'm getting too carried away. I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. This is interesting. As Poch says, I think too much pressure. I think too much pressure to our players, to Disasi or Levi when we play the ball. Always one option to play on the sides, and then it was 2v1 against Sheffield United midfield with the fullback. It is difficult playing back to the goal. It was impossible to create chances and circulate the ball because we always gave them time to shuffle and shuffle and shuffle, basically giving these guys time to get back into position. When we wanted to take a risk, lose the ball, I think it was good that we were frustrated, but our second half we reacted very well. So I think it's interesting that he noticed the issue we saw of the lack of wide support, as there was a lot of pressure put on Colwell and Disasi because we were getting overloaded out wides. I've been stressing this Mudryk 2v1, Sterling 2v1, and it was like that because they didn't have the fullback they want. They need that fullback to help isolate them 1v1 again. We didn't give them those options because we started by using more centre-backs in fullback positions. And I felt like, listen, if we had a Gusto starting on the right-hand side or Maatsen on the left-hand side, I don't think that first half plays out like how it does. And I think we use the width and we use the size a lot better. So, of course, I think it was obvious for everyone to see. I think Pochettino has been very honest with his assessment of the first half. And I think he made the right decisions by far, because by moving Palmer to the right-hand side, if you guys noticed, it was Conor Gallagher and Cole Palmer double-teaming quite a lot. You weren't seeing Disasi having to, make runs behind, to get into the final third. And it was the same thing for Levi Colwell. You weren't seeing Colwell having to do that because it'd be Mudryk there, then it would be Sterling, then it would be Jackson, and he could be a bit deeper and be a bit closer to the midfields. So, listen, they were the decisions that we needed to make to get back in the game, but on one hand, we still wasted 45 minutes, and against a better team in that first half, we could have paid the price. So we can't get too carried away because it's only Sheffield United. But this is what mid-tactics can do sometimes, and better teams will punish us, Pochettino. So you must take the risk sometimes. You didn't need to have two defenders playing wide. You could have at least given flipping Mudryk, Maatsen just for this game, just to see what Maatsen can do, playing alongside Mudryk, giving him a proper fullback. So I don't agree with how he started the team at all, and I'm glad he fixed things quickly in the second half. Moving on though, before I move on, slow first half against the low block. Was that a bit of fear because of previous difficulties? Now, I'd like to think these men aren't fearful against Sheffield United. Listen, I'm sounding a bit cocky and arrogant right now. I'm sorry. Like, I have got some standards myself here. I can't be hearing things about fearful breaking down the Sheffield United block. Okay, what does he have to say? Poch says no fear, rightfully so. That was difficult to identify the way to play. We made a mistake to stand still in our positions in our plan to follow. It follow your instructions, right? We didn't show the capacity to be flexible. Yeah, I agree, we look very rigid. I was not seeing no rotation. I was just seeing guys just staying in their positions the whole game in that first half. It wasn't making sense. To move on, it was easy for them to identify our position, as it is for all these teams, and to block us, to make us put the ball in the position that was easy for them to stop. I think that makes sense. I mean, if you guys look at my stats on the scrolling text, Sheffield United made a lot of interceptions in this game today, and that just kind of tells me that they were anticipating our next move. I think they would have got a lot of their interceptions in that first half because we were too predictable. We were too flat. We were encouraging backwards passes. You know, every time we played a forward pass, we were getting outmanned in those central areas. Hence, every pass was getting intercepted. So, you know, Pochettino is really revealing what went wrong in that first half. And listen, I gave him a 7, my player ratings, because I have to give credit for how he switched things up to get us back in that game. Because I see it like this. If Broja doesn't miss one of the easiest chances of the season, this is a 3-0 win. And I think to come back 3-0 in the second half after being that shit in the first half, listen, I'll give some credit. I'm not like a full-time hater. Of course, what made you leave Enzo Fernandez out? Caicedo had his best game. I guess he did have his best game, but, you know, we'll keep the standards high. It's Sheffield United. Anyway, Poch says, yep, 11 can play. It's a big competition, and sometimes you need one characteristic. Yes, I think, yeah, I spoke about this already in terms of the combination between Caicedo and Gallagher if you're going to have Cole Palmer playing as a 10. So I think I've said that already. So my friends, they're the key talking points from the press conference. I think right now, let's end this little show off by going through some questions, by having some callers come in so they can discuss how the game's gone in their opinion. And let's just break down this game in further detail. So I hope you guys are ready for this next part. I'm going to answer some questions now in the chat right now. So yeah, man, any caller that wants to come on, all my details are in the description. And you know what I mean. You will have your time, my friends. So give me 1 second. And then we'll move into things. But moving on to the chat right now, what do you guys have to say? Adam, for me, height isn't a problem, but the strength. I think Chelsea have like one of the highest headers won in the Premier League this season, which you're absolutely correct. We do rank very high for them. So it's not like we're conceding because we aren't tall enough from set pieces. I think we're conceding because number one, are some of these set piece routines that good? And I think number two as well too, you know, don't give away too many fouls out wide. Don't invite too many crosses inside the box. What do we do to stop the cross coming in? I don't think we do enough, to be fair with you. And it kind of like takes away the need to have all this height in defense, especially when you run the risk of playing first halves like what we did. And thank God we're playing against the worst team in the league, because against a better team, we could have been a goal down. And God knows, Lord knows who knows if we're coming back in the second half. But anyway, I got a question here from 300 Truths. Appreciate that, man. Your first super chat really means a lot, man. What do you think of James Fofana duo in our first choice back four when they are injury prone as hell? How do you build on the defense like that? I think that's a very fair question, because a lot of the managers, not just Pochettino, let's keep it real, managers of the past few years, Lampard's, Tuchel for sure, even Graham Potter, a lot of these guys suffered with injuries at the wrong time, and it's hard to build consistent tactics around key players that aren't really available too often. I think in our first choice defense side, you have Ben at left back. I don't care what anyone says. You have Ben at left back, yeah. Those overlaps on the outside, they do a lot. Reece James is probably one of our best players at this club easily. And again, when he's not playing on the right hand side, you lose a lot of quality, and it's a shame that we don't get to see Cole Palmer and Reece James more this season. I think that little taste that we got with these two against Man City, I was getting excited. I was starting to see the stars after that game, not going to lie. And I think Fofana, alongside Cole or Badia, because I think this back four lets us push our lines up further. I wish we could push our lines up further to like really squeeze the opposition at times, because we have the pace, we've got the technical capacity, and the 1v1 defenders with the quality too to really play that way. And I think obviously when you don't have that, when you're having to use a Thiago Silva, you're going to compensate for Silva's lack of explosiveness over long distances, right? So you're not going to push your lines up as much as you can to really squeeze the opposition. So I think, it does make things quite difficult. I think for me, Fofana, Reece James are two guys that you really, you just have to like ride out and have that patience for. I think Ben's a great left back, but if we had to invest in signing a top left back in the summer, I'd be all for that, because I do think that Ben, I feel like we always kind of feel his losses a bit more than at right back sometimes, because we don't have the same quality backup on the left as what we have on the right hand sides. And, Ben also is not consistently available for most seasons. So I think having a proper left back, at least, knowing that we have Gusto and others that can play there, is more than good enough for me. But, yeah, man, for me, that my back four would be Fofana. Probably, listen, I like Cole a lot. I just think his passing, we're not seeing it. But I think this guy's passing could really add so much to this team if he's used properly. Ben and Reece James, that would be like a top back four for me. But yeah, thanks for the question, man. Appreciate that. What you get? Yes, Haj. What you say, man? Nini, Pochettino's 4-1-5 or Ten Hag's 3-1-6. Which of these abominations pose a bigger threat to humanity? Not gonna lie, Haj, you were coming with the banner with the last calling shows. It was pretty funny. Yeah, I mean, these are like tactical crimes against humanity, I guess. I think it also reflects, listen, I've seen Ten Hag. I know what the Ajax team's about. If he had the same type of players or personnel, you wouldn't be seeing these abominations. I think at times I sympathize that both managers have to work under constraints that they have. But it makes me realize, I don't know if it's like something with modern day management, but when managers don't have all their cylinders firing, like if they don't have all the details they need on point, they do look quite exposed in terms of what else can they offer. You know what I mean? Okay, cool. You don't have your midfield. You don't have a defense. You don't have this. You don't have that. What else can you offer in terms of still helping us achieve our objectives, getting us playing properly, etc., etc. Like, I get it, Pochettino, you couldn't rely upon Nkunku, and he would have been a massive difference maker. One game I think about that had the most promise of this whole season was that game versus West Ham at the start of the season, where obviously we went down from the corner. Odegaard scored against us, and I have to say that first half of football against a team that we've always the park the bus teams that we always do so shit against. That first half against West Ham, for me, was some of the best football I've seen in a while, because the pace, the tempo, the one-touch football, how everything combined together. And you know what it was? It was the unrelenting pressure we put on West Ham. We did not stop. We kept going and going and going and going. We deserved that beautiful equaliser we got from Chukwuemeka. And then unfortunately, Khan's went off. I know that ruined a lot of things, because it's like, shit, we can't even rely upon Khan to do the Nkunku role. That's a big loss, and I understand that. But outside of that, I still think there were options and solutions. And I just think that, okay, you've lost some key guys, but why is every decision you're coming with not that good now? Why are you forced to have to make big changes in games? Because the preparation to start these games isn't always on point. And it's just like, I feel like I have this opinion now, because I've seen so many managers, from Tuchel to Lampard to everyone, have big stages in the season where they don't have anyone they can rely upon because there's non-stop injuries. But like, then again, is that like a good enough, I hate that word, but is it a good enough excuse to still not be that good? You know what I mean? Like, do you not have better ideas or solutions or alternatives? Like, are these alternatives the best you can do? And I think a lot of us come to the realization that it's not. And I think, again, I'm going to say this again, against a better team than Sheffield United in that first half, we could have got punished, and I don't know if we're coming back. So I'm not resting on my laurels. But anyway, moving on. hard worker beneath Jeremy Frimpong. He would be interesting, but he's very offensive, very offensive. And it's like, you need to let this guy cook. You have to let him attack. 1v1 is not all that. Let's keep things real. Boubacar, yes, I know this sounds harsh, but is Mudryk an upgrade on Pulisic and Hudson-Odoi? I mean, right now, you can't really say that's the case. Let's be brutally honest. At the same time, do I think we're doing enough to get the best out of Mudryk? Absolutely not. For some reason at this football club, and I've seen this since Eden Hazard, why are we so allergic to letting a fullback support a winger? Why is it call on the right hand side? Because we have Reece James, I get it. He's that good, so you have to let him go forward. But on the left hand side, this reluctance to support the left winger, it's been like this for years. I don't really understand why it's like that, to be honest with you. I think Mudryk's not good enough where he can just dominate the spaces made for him. He needs to have support near him. He needs to have a left mid and he needs to have a left back. That's how I see things. Okay, Ronnie Scott. The 4-1-5 and 3-1-6 isn't as bad as you think, depending on the tactics behind it. Again, you're 100% right. It comes down to the context of how is the team playing. What's the shape? How are these guys moving on the ball? And I think sometimes they become comical because there's a massive disconnect between what the coach wants and how the players are performing, right? But, it has its merits. It has its merits in the right context. Tell all with CAG. The Chukwuemeka injury definitely derailed us. It did. And I think Carnes was really impressing me because he's got this really sick ability, Chukwuemeka, where he always releases the ball at the right time. So let's say he's getting closed down, he's getting pressured. He just has that skill where he can just hold on to it that split second longer to play that right pass, to do that combo play, to do that 1-2. And he was showing that a lot at the start of the season, in pre-season too. And in that game versus West Ham, where him and that left channel, Carnes was looking very impressive. I've gone back to watching the individual highlight clips of that game, and this guy did look impressive. And it's a massive shame. He would have benefited the most from this season if he didn't get the injury. Because imagine Nkunku's out. This is your make or break part to be like, yo, this is my time to shine. And it was taken away from him. So hopefully he comes back because, listen, I think as the season goes on, I wouldn't be surprised if Carnes and Palmer rotate, if I'm being honest with you. But right now, I'm going to have on my first caller. You ready? So, Mohammed, bro, hopefully you're seeing my message on Skype. You'll be my first caller on. If not, I've got another one in David's. So let me know. And if you guys want to take part, of course, description has all the details. And okay, Mohammed is ready. Nice. So I'm going to call him. I'm going to get this show on the roads. And obviously, if you guys want to take part, you know what to do, mate. You know what to do, lads. Flipping description, mate. So, yes. I need to make sure my audio settings are good. I think they are. Oh, that would have been an L. That would have been a massive L. Skype didn't pick up any of my my settings, but it's good now. Yes, Mohammed, can you hear me? Yeah. Yes, bro, I can hear you. Perfect. All right, I'm going to have my first caller on screen right now. 3, 2, 1. Let's get it. Yes, Mohammed. Bro, I know you probably have a lot to say. I'm sure you felt a lot of things watching the game today. Take it away, man. What do you want to say after today's win against Sheffield United?
It was a very hard game to watch. First of all, I spent 20 minutes on my phone. We were just playing side to side, and if we want to play against other low block teams, we have Wolves next, so it'll be way more harder to break them down. So if we keep doing side to side, it'll be way more hard to break them down. Mm-hmm. I really liked Cole Palmer at cam. I feel like we created more chances with him at the number 10 role, and then Sterling at the right. I think we need to try to do that more. And we could have made it 3-0, but that Braha miss, to be honest, for me, I can't give Braha excuse because that was a horrible miss. Mm-hmm. It was just 1 yard, 1 yard out. You just had to, you didn't even need to you move your leg, just tap it in. It wasn't really that hard. But overall, a win is a win. I'm not really gonna critique the performance.
Yeah.
I feel like Mudryk really needs overlapping left back, especially when he was like a Shakhtar the next. He had like an overlapping left back.
It was Mitvienko on the left
Yeah.
hand side. Yeah.
And I thought Ben Chilwell could do that for him, but like Levi Cole is a center back. I don't expect him to, be overlapping all the time. And Cucurella is inverted, and Ben Chilwell's injured all the time.
Yeah.
But I think we really need another fullback, especially for the left side.
Yeah.
I think right back we're kind of covered. Gusto is a great backup for Reece James, but we need another left back.
I fully agree. I think it's just making more and more sense. And I mean, bro, what do you think the reason is as to why maybe Maatsen isn't favoured? All the fullbacks are out, and yet he's still getting 3 minutes as a super sub on the right wing.
Honestly, I don't know. Like maybe in preseason he saw how good he was playing, like a more attacking position, and in Burnley he was playing more attacking. He was less wing back, like in Burnley, like they were playing way more aggressive, and over the championship. So maybe he thought, okay, if we play him at left wing and we put Levi Cole at left back, we can play like maybe when we defend we can play like a 5 at the back system.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's what I think maybe. But honestly, if Levi Cole, he's not that overlapping center back. So I think like it would have been better if we just put Ian Maatsen there. Like that last game against Everton when I was in here, like, I said that we need to see more of Mudryk and Ian Maatsen. Like I thought he was going to be the backup for Ben Chilwell.
Yeah.
But for some reason, all of a sudden Ian Maatsen is not getting any game time. I don't know. Maybe something's happening behind the scenes. Maybe something went wrong.
Do you think it'd be like board politics? He's not agreeing to signing a new extension because he doesn't feel like he's getting much of an opportunity. This whole like chicken and egg situation with Maatsen. Do you think that could play a part?
Yeah, it could play a part. I mean, we are looking to sell him at January, so maybe we're like, maybe we can't play someone that's not, gonna be here next month. So it's the same thing with Madueke. Like, I feel like we need to. I wanted to see more of him, especially last season. Like he was showing, in my opinion, more promise than Mudryk because he was like the he plays like a Liao. He's like our Liao, the right side, and he's very strong airily, and he can dribble the ball, and take on to his fullback and bring width.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate.
It is. I think the injuries are definitely a thing. I think he's been getting them at the wrong time. I think he's had them quite a lot for the past 18 months. And I know, again, the team news yesterday confirmed he has like another minor niggle. And hopefully he can try and break out of that, because I don't know. I feel like it's a shame they're not seeing much of him. I think even as like a super sub, at least, and I agree with what you were saying. I just think that the strength he's shown, especially that, the cameo he had last season, that game versus Bournemouth, like able to cut inside, outside. I think there's definitely a player that could be adding more to the team. And I don't know, hopefully he gets an opportunity, but it does seem like based on reports, he could be sacrificed so we can sign someone. But God knows who that's going to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know who another right winger in the market that plays like NiiNiiFC and that can give us width.
Yeah, I feel you, man. I feel you. But anyway, do you have any closing statements or comments you want to make, Mohammed? Like anything else on your mind after the game today, or just in general?
I think honestly, sometimes I'm confused what we do in the training ground. Like, honestly, what do we do? Like, honestly, the sideway passes, I could go play center back and do the same thing. Like, yeah. Like, I don't understand what we do at training. And also, I was very super duper angry that Kuku didn't even play at least 1 minute. Like, he was warming up, and I was like, oh, finally, we're going to see Nkuku play. And then out of nowhere, he just came back to the bench. I think he just came to watch the game. I
didn't get that. Like, the teasing with Nkuku, listen, I get you got to be careful and patient, but sorry, you're telling me you can't get a few minutes, like 5-10 minutes at least, not even 1 minute before the game ended to come on. Like, I don't know.
Hopefully, at least Wolves, he can get at least 10 minutes, 20 minutes. I don't know. It could even be like a cardio session. He doesn't even get the ball, he just runs.
Exactly. Just so he can get his first taste of life in the Premier League. But anyway, Mohammed, man, thanks for coming on, bro. Really nice talking with you. And obviously, hopefully we talk again on one of these streams again, man. Yeah. Thanks. Take care, man. So I'm going to answer a few more questions before I bring on the next caller. Give me 1 second, you guys. Okay. But in the meantime, what you guys saying? Did you agree with what Mohammed had to say? How are you guys feeling about Noni? How are you feeling about the left back situation? Do you think that it's getting a bit crazy now that Maatsen, out of all these injuries we're having in that position, does Barn even get like one opportunity to show what he can do? It's not really making sense. But anyway, I'll answer a few more questions before the next caller comes on. Ronnie, in the process to be the easiest game, which we're winning, yeah. Nini, even though positional play 3-2-5, 2-3-5 is the most effective style of football nowadays, what's your personal philosophy? You see more profile orientated over systems like Ancelotti. I don't know. I feel a bit of both. Like I like the relationist type of football where I see the players on the field. Listen, they're in their peak positions where they can play their most effective game. Like I was noticing that with Spalletti's Napoli last season, the little triangles and passing combinations between like Anguissa, what's his name, Lobotka and Zielinski, with how they would combine on the left with like, Kvaratskhelia, Zielinski, and who is the left back playing for them? It was just all these nice passing triangles, which makes it really hard for the opposition to figure out what the next move's going to be. I think sometimes the positional play football, there is a bit of predictability behind, how the game is played, and I think maybe it gives a bit of encouragement towards the opposition at times. I think, listen, Man City probably do that the very best, but I think this season now, they're at a patch right now where they're conceding more goals. I feel like teams are better equipped now this season to play against Man City, and I don't know, I just feel like it doesn't have, the shelf life isn't as long as it could be. I just like a bit of relationist style football where the players take more responsibility at times. Like, listen, maybe I got that from watching your Lampards and Co. Where, listen, if something's happening in game, we're trying to get back, I'm going to see Lampard decide to take a few more shots outside the box. The manager's not telling him to do that. Lampard himself knows as a world-class player, listen, it's time for me to step up right now, get this team back on. I'm going to see, different possibilities created by the players on fields without having to be, following instructions to a T. And I think that first half against Sheffield United typified some of my issues sometimes with positional play, especially when it's done really shits and really bads. Because, the fact the players couldn't decipher for themselves, you know what, I'm just going to naturally swap positions right now. I'm going to naturally move infield. They stood by to the demands to a T, even though it clearly wasn't working whatsoever. I just feel like maybe back in the day, you'd see players take more responsibility. Like I think one of the famous examples, as a random one, was 2006 World Cup. Germany are playing the first game against Costa Rica. Michael Ballack was playing with this guy called Torsten Frings, who used to be at like Werder Bremen and stuff in midfield. They were struggling against Costa Rica and they won that game in the end. I think Philip Lahm scored like a mad curling effort outside the box. And one of the reasons why they won was because Michael Ballack in game was like, listen, I'm Frings, I'm going to sit deeper. You need to push forward because this is how this team's going to work. And the players on the field found the solutions as well to get the result. Like, I don't know. Listen, I'm not an expert, but I know everything. I don't know if the players should be doing that regardless or if there's a bit of an issue. I don't know. But, I miss seeing that. I miss seeing, quality players being the difference makers. I think Enzo's in that type of mold, but I don't think everyone else is, to be fair. But I don't know. The relationist stuff, I think it excites me a little bit more. The positional stuff, I think I'm just kind of getting just a bit tired with it, to be fair. But right now, I'm going to have my next caller. I'm getting ready to bring on Shoke right now. Sorry if I'm just butchering the name, bro. But bear with me, you guys. I'm going to be on for the next probably 50 minutes before I have to bounce. So yeah, I'm going to be going through calls at a pacey enough time and then obviously taking it forward from there. So just give me 1 sec. I'll bring on the caller right now. Yes, Oshko, how you doing, man?
I'm good, Nini. Thank you for having me on.
Of course, man, of course. Glad that you wanted to come on and share your thoughts. And yeah, bro, how are you feeling after that game?
Overall, I say a good win, but the performance still wasn't great, especially in the first half because it was such a boring, dead game. Like, all of the players were just like, they were tired, like, they were all poor.
Yeah.
it was just not a good game. But the second half, I think we were so much better, and I think all of the players woke up and just had to make sure that this is a must-win game. We just cannot lose this game. So yeah, I mean, Cole Palmer. First half he was poor, but second half he did really well. I mean, he got
Yeah.
the goal and an assist for that game, so he was really good. I mean, yeah, I mean Nicholas Jackson though. I mean, so far he has scored a goal, but the reason why that is because he played as a winger. And people have been telling me that Jackson ain't a striker, he is a winger. And it looks like today he proved it because it's a strange goal, but listen, he scored a goal. That's all I've got to take on that one. I say Conor Gallagher has some good moments, but still ain't the player that we need. I thought Caicedo was absolutely amazing today. I mean, he did well defensively, winning balls back, and especially in that first half, he's the kind of player that we want to see, like midfielders pass this straight to the strikers, and then we'll see if they're gonna score or miss. So that's what we'll be missing. So I thought Caicedo was good. I thought Badiashile once again looked absolutely fantastic at the back. The same goes Thiago Silva, Leewell Colwell. I mean, he's really not a left back. Didn't do anything much, but he kept a clean sheet. So there we go. I thought Petrovic didn't have anything to do. He has made some one save, but he kept a clean sheet, and that was really good. The substitutes, though, I mean, they came on and made a bit of an impact, but didn't get enough time.
Yeah.
And now the problem is, Nini, is that Ian Maatsen is not getting minutes this season. I mean, I don't know why he doesn't trust Ian Maatsen because he can play well. We have seen him pre-season when he plays as a left back, a left winger, and a right winger. So I'm worried that if we don't start this guy like week in and week out, in January he could be sold, and I never want that to happen because in pre-season he was absolutely amazing. So I just don't know what's happening with Ian Maatsen. I don't know why he's not getting minutes this season. I'm just so worried, man.
Yeah, it is a weird one. It felt like he won the trust of Pochettino in pre-season. I think this is why we didn't even see Lewis Hall even feature getting any minutes whatsoever, because I thought maybe Maatsen was the guy Poch had gone for. And it's just very interesting that there's a reluctance to want to use him. I don't know, is Maatsen maybe reacting negatively to not feeling confident, and if maybe his training sessions are poor? That's why Pochettino's like, listen, I can't even use you now because you're not there mentally. He had a high last season, and I'm only making this point because I think when he joined up with the Dutch under-21 squad, I think the manager criticised his performance levels with the under-21s, and his point was, you know, at this age, these guys have to be playing week in, week out. You know, if you're not playing, if you're not on the field, if you're not getting minutes, it's going to get inside your heads and you're going to be not at your best self. So that's the only explanation I have. But yeah, it's disappointing. Going back to the last call in Mohamed, I just think that Maatsen and Mudryk could be what each other needs right now on that left hand side. I think Colwell, listen, I like Colwell, but I feel like he's being forced in the team now. When in a game like Sheffield United, where you're playing against a team that's parking the bus, what did we really get from Colwell's involvement in the team, if you know what I mean? It's not his fault, but what did we really get from having him there? But yeah, man, sorry, before we I move on to the next caller, are there any like closing points you want to make or any other final opinions you have, man?
Yeah, I mean, good performance. Now we move on into Newcastle, and I really hope Pochettino and these players really get really make up, be up for it for this game, because if we want to be in Europe, we need to at least win either the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup, because my expectation this season was top 5 in the trophy. So a thing for top 5 is not going to happen, but winning the trophy is the most important thing, because we want to at least get to Europe. So we've got Newcastle next, and we've got Wolves on Christmas Eve. So really hope that these players and the manager just fix up, get really great performances, and just get that win, because we haven't got back-to-back wins in the Premier League since October this year when we beat Fulham and Burnley. So yeah, I just hope that Pochettino and the players get to right, and we just, get this win consistently if we have any chance of finishing the top 5 this season.
Yeah, 100%. I think Carabao Cup, that is our Champions League, that is our Prem title. I think winning that, securing a European spot through, winning that, I think the confidence that will bring to a young team getting the first piece of silverware could just be the little something we need to at least set us up in the future. But anyway, bro, I really appreciate you coming on,
Thank
sharing
you.
your thoughts and opinions. Hopefully we talk again soon.
Yeah.
Take care.
Thank you.
And I'm going to have on my next 2 callers, I'm going to go through things at a quicker pace. I'm here for the final 10 minutes and I have to bounce. Obviously, I'm seeing this new Godzilla film in the cinema. Yeah, I need to get on with that. So, okay, I'm going to have on my next caller, Abdi. Yes, bro, I hope you're ready, man. I hope you're ready. Hey, in the meantime, I'm going to answer one of your questions in the Q&A. Whilst I'm getting ready for the next caller. Mason, I feel for Poch in a way because he's got a great potential 24-man squad and he can't even trade them 11 versus 11 week in, week out. Again, I think that's a very fair comment. You're 100% right. I respect there's going to be some frustration from that for sure. Yes, bro. So I'm going to have on the next caller now, and Abdi, and then we're going to have on maybe another one or 2 potentially, and then I need to wrap things up. But if you guys want to talk more football, I'm more than happy to do another call-in show tomorrow, so you guys can come on and have your opportunity to talk. Moving on, Emmanuel Petrovic better with his feet compared to Sanchez. I don't think we saw. I'm not using this game versus Sheffield United to prove who's a better passer. I need to wait before I start having that type of assessment. The Lionship Maatsen's got to be starting with Mudryk. I think so. I think it'll be interesting. But anyway, Abdi, how you doing, bro? You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Nice, cool. So I'm gonna have the next caller on. So yeah, bro, obviously 2-0 win, Sheffield United. Listen, for a team that's not really winning too much, we can't complain about bagging 3 points. Getting that W is key. But outside of the win, how did you feel? Did you feel optimistic? Did you feel a bit negative? Are you just feeling indifferent? Like, how are you feeling after the win today?
I mean, to be fair, watching that game, I just felt like kind of numb because I wasn't really seeing like things that really excited me during the game, you know. Also, I realized I've been watching the games recently, you know, the ones that we lost, the Newcastle game, the Man United game. I realized playing out from the back, we looked like very, very nervous. I don't know why. Like, once we get pressed a little bit by Man United, it's not even a pressing team. We just hoof the ball along, give them possession again, and I don't know. It's been kind of weird, but also the defense need to be better with their progressive passes. I think Thiago Silva too much passing sideways, and the fullbacks, I don't understand that. Even though they are injured, but I think Maatsen needs to be starting a lot more because I think a lot of managers would take Maatsen at their team, and he's just being treated as a ghost right now on our team, and that's not acceptable, I think.
Yeah, I feel you. Like, because I agree, because I feel like, listen, not even Maatsen doesn't have to be playing 10 out of 10 to deserve a spot. I just think that having a left back of his capabilities will just help out the other players on the field more. I think it will help out Mudryk. Mudryk wants to be cutting in, playing, giving goals with Jackson. He can't do that if he's by himself out wide. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if Maatsen's there, then Mudryk can, when he's moving inside, then it makes more sense in. So, I don't know. I feel when Poch made that comment post-match about too much pressure on Cole and Disasi, is that going to finally get him thinking, yo, maybe against these types of teams, I shouldn't be using defenders at fullback.
Also, I think Maatsen, as a left back in our team, I think he's the most creative and best link-up player with other players, to be honest. That's why I think Poch wanted to play him up forward, but I think he uses capabilities in defence. He's useful asset. He can dribble off in the back if he has pressure on him, which Poch was talking about, and he can link up with players properly, like overlap. And I think he's meant to like go up and down the field instead of these big centre backs just running up and down. They get tired easily, I think. Yeah,
100%. Like 2 6'3" guys playing like that, there ain't no way that's gonna work. No way.
Yeah, and you have these like wingers trying to press them, and then all they do is either hoof it long or they just pass it back to him. It's not gonna work, I think.
Nah, it's not. And I feel like, again, like we saw in the first half, right, a lot of recycled possession backwards, and it's just like, I was watching Sheffield United players running back in position. I wasn't seeing these men busting a gut. They didn't have to bust the gut because we were doing the work for them. So I definitely feel you on that one. But I'm sorry to rush you a little bit, but do you have any final thoughts and opinions that you want to get out there about the game today, or just in general?
I think in terms of our system, I think we could just be doing a little better, moving the ball quicker, because teams, when you move the ball quick, they can't respond to it. And I think we just take too many touches trying to look up, and then by the time we look up and see the pass, it's already gone there and back in position again.
Yeah.
I think that's the way to break the low blocks down quick, hit it fast, 1-2, get the ball moving, because the ball moves faster than the man. But I think we're trying to get our men into position, but the ball should move faster than the man. I think that's the key. 100%. Move the ball fast, and teams will be able to respond to that.
Exactly, and I feel like, you know, again, it just goes back to better support is all I can think of. I'm not no coaching expert. I've got no qualifications, but I just think, you know, we slow down how we move the ball, because when guys are receiving it in certain areas, all the options are blocked off. You know,
exactly.
Like if a wing is receiving it and there's no options for him to progress forward, what's gonna happen realistically? It's gonna go backwards. Yeah. So yeah, bro, appreciate you coming on, sharing your thoughts, man. Really nice talking, and obviously have a good weekend, bro.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
I appreciate it, man. Take care.
Thank you.
And my friends, for the final final call, I'm gonna get him ready right now. Hey, Coach is going to be the final caller. Apologies to other people that I can't get through to right now. I'm going to make sure... Listen, I'm happy to do this again tomorrow. If you guys want to just have like an exclusive call-in show talk, that's more than good. But right now, I've got a super chat. Aziz King, appreciate that, man. Nini, did you notice we went 2 up front? I said it. Yes, we did. Raheem Sterling playing off of Nico Jackson was key in that aspects, and I think against this type of team, I think we can probably afford to have 2 up front at times. It was even nice to see Nico Jackson move to the left when Broja came on as well too. So, you know, that's little small signs of like creative management decisions from Pochettino today. And listen, it came up big because it completely turned the game around for us, and we ended up bagging a 2-0 win. So, okay, I'm going to have my next caller on now in Kojo, and then after that, my friends, I need to wrap things up and get my ass ready for the cinema. So, yeah, bear with me before Kojo comes on. Poor games today, yeah. Kelvin, Nini, do you think we need a DM? No, I don't think we need any more midfield players. No, we've got too many midfield players. I don't see a DM helping us whatsoever. It'll be a waste of funds. So no, I disagree. But anyway, I've got Kojo on right now. Let me just get him on screen for you guys. Yes, Pro, how you doing, man? Great to see you.
I'm good, Captain. I'm good. Can you hear me well?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly, bro. Audio is crisp. Don't worry. But yeah, man, what's your thoughts on the game today, man?
Man, listen, I don't usually complain, man. I'm a bit of an optimist, and I've been watching you a very long time, so you've been killing the game, so I appreciate you first and foremost. Keeping it short and brief. The thing that I noticed on this game was that we compacted the pitch way too much. Something that I love about people like Thiago Silva is that they can pop a ball in. But on this game, if you notice anything, Thiago Silva got a lot of the ball and wanted Cole Palmer and the likes to keep coming towards him and playing a 5-yard pass, which compacts the whole pitch. And when you saw the second half of the game, we saw that lovely crossfield pass that he made to Sterling. He needed to do it far more than what he was doing. He's not the only one, but we're making the pitch so small. So, like, for instance, like we got Jackson making runs several times. There was another part. Who was it? Was it Conor Gallagher had a chance on the right wing? Instead of just slipping the ball behind the defense, he opted to cut the ball back. And I noticed that a lot of times we're cutting off our striker. If you've got a striker that's running beyond the defenders, you have to pass the ball beyond the defender to get the striker to go on and latch onto the ball. We're not doing that. So what's happening is we're restricting the play to that midfield area. And so when we're playing teams like Sheffield, I feel we should be smashing them. Yeah. You understand? But we're not stretching the play enough to do so. And so I love watching Modric play. I need someone to grab Modric by the neck and tell him, Modric, get the ball, dribble, and take them on. Don't be afraid. If you lose it, we'll work back and get it. But you've got to start doing more, because what's the point of having pace and dribbling if you're not going to use it? Yeah. And, you know, so we lack in that area. Defense was good today. I thought they were pretty solid. We didn't give anything away stupid as well. I wasn't concerned about that. But our attacking prowess, it needs to change. I just feel like Cole Palmer, and my last point is this, why is Cole Palmer doing all the work in his team? I see him going from attack to defense, and then I'm asking questions about everybody else. If he can do that, I need the rest of you to be as as diligent as he is. And I just feel like we're not doing that as a team. There's too many passengers in this particular game as well.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, man. I think you made so many good points. I just want you to even take the time to just elaborate on them even more. I love the point about how they're compacting the pitch a lot too much. I think that really creates for us as negative passing cycles we see out from the back, and balls constantly played backwards, and then the counter reaction to that from the players further forward is they're not looking to receive in creative positions. They just hold whatever position they have. The cynical part of me is like, listen, you're training ground methodology that you can't translate in game properly, so you're kind of just lazily falling behind that. And I feel like that point you touched upon, how it doesn't help the striker. I think this is even something that kind of goes past even this game, but I've seen this over seasons. I've seen this over a few years as well too. Yeah, take it away, man. I just want to hear your thoughts, man.
Yeah, no, listen, I think we've had a striker problem for a very long time, and it's because I don't know what's going on, but it's been over few managers. And I think it's because we're not playing to a striker's strength, right? We've got someone like Jackson who likes to spin the last defender and make a last-ditch run. We saw Caicedo play a beautiful pass, cut through and play the ball through. One of the reasons why we're not getting a striker involved is because the play is slow. The build-up play is so slow. We play the ball side to side, and that's what we do, right? But when you're playing with someone like Jackson, you have to keep the passes short, sharp, and swift. And so it should be 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2s and move. That's what we saw in preseason. We were all excited, like, we're going to be killing it. And it's not because Nkunku's not playing, it's because we're not doing that at all. I'm not seeing Sterling do it, who used to do it in Man City. I'm not seeing Mudryk do it, who can do it. I mean, I'm not seeing any of those players, apart from Cole Palmer, and that's why he's so frustrated, who are not looking to have the quick passes interchange and then a short pass into the striker. If you want to move a defense, then you have to move the ball quickly. And when you're in that place where you're just before the box, then 1-2s and slip the ball through. And even if it doesn't get through, what the defense is starting to think like is, wow, these men are playing fast passes. We've got to be on point. And after a while, it's not the running that gets them tired. It's the mental faculty that gets, I'm tired of having to keep tracking the man. But when you laboriously pass the ball side to side, and then we're not even switching the ball to the other wing quickly. It's so slow. Yeah. So our strikers always suffer because we do wing play and don't cross the ball in. We do wing play and cut the ball back almost to the edge of the box. What's the point of having a striker who's going to run beyond and do that? That's why Tammy suffered. That's why Morata suffers. That's why we suffered for so long until someone like Costa or Drogba, who are used to creating something out of nothing. And it's a bit much,
It is too much. This is why I haven't really necessarily agreed with the criticisms that Jackson gets, because I think sometimes he's a victim of the system at times. I think this first half in particular, I mean, the contrast between the first half and the second half, when Poch made those little tweaks to get him more involved, having Sterling playing closer towards him, I saw a Jackson that was freer to play the game he wants to play. And it's no surprise why he was there on Maatsen on the back post to put it in to make it 2-0. So honestly, man, I think you've touched upon a lot of really interesting points. Hopefully you come on again, because I feel like there's, you've probably got even a lot more to say, which would be really interesting to hear. So I appreciate that. But before I have to wrap things up though, any final thoughts about the game or in general that you want to make?
I think we need, as a fan base, I think we need to be patient. Right, we are not. We're not the team of old, and we are in a rebuild. So if we know we're in a rebuild, we got to commit to it. I think sometimes, I know we want the results to come in the first year, and sometimes even the second year. It ain't gonna happen. You got 22 and 23-year-olds. What we need to do is start being realistic. What I want to see, though, from the team is a style of play that we're actually playing. So if we are going to be playing football, are we doing counter-attacking, or are we doing a full-time press? Are we doing high press? I need a style of play, and I think that's where we're struggling right now. So I'd rather be invested in Poch saying, do you know what? We may lose a couple games, but I'm going to build a philosophy with these players that I'm going to lay down, because the team has been blessed because we actually were literally working off the back of Jose Mourinho's whole ethos, and other managers came on just kind of slightly built upon it. But actually, it started with Jose Mourinho's complete resolute defense. We're not in that season anymore. We need a new philosophy that we want to build. We want wing play. Do we want to rely on the striker? What are we doing? And at the moment, it's everything. And I think that's why we're suffering. We need a style of play. Otherwise, we're ending like Man United right now. We're going to be all over the place. Choose a style of play, stick with it, and then buy players who fit that system, and then go from there. We may suffer for next year or two. I don't mind. Let them banter us, but I know where we're going to go to. And I think we just need a bit of that patience to do. I think Poch is the right man, but you're going to have to give him a season or two, guys. I just need us to be a little bit more patient.
Yeah, honestly, man, I think absolute facts have been spit by you today. Obviously, thank you for coming on, sharing your thoughts and opinions. And hopefully, we definitely talk again soon, man. So, yeah, I'm going to have to say goodbye to you, man. But again, thank you for sharing your thoughts, man. Take care. Have a good weekend.
Best, bro. You too, bro.
But my guys, obviously, very, very insightful call. A lot of detail, a lot of nuance, you know, a lot of insight. My favorite type of call, not gonna lie. So yeah, that was definitely a that was definitely an enjoyable call. But my friends, I'm gonna have to definitely wrap things up now, and I'm gonna have to keep things moving because now I've got the bay's getting a bit impatient right now. We need to get our asses out of here, and I'm 5 minutes behind. So thank you to everyone that came on to share their thoughts and opinions. Thank you to everyone that got involved in the chat. Thank you to everyone who watched and just is listening to my voice again after this win. Always means a lot. Much appreciated. And thank you for the super chats too. So my friends, have a good weekend. Look after yourselves. I'll see you guys tomorrow, maybe for another live stream, but definitely for the What We Learned video after this game. So until then, I'm NiiNiiFC. This is